Citizen TV. This is the Monday Report with Trevor.
Good evening. You're just in time for the Monday Report. My name is Trevor Mbija, live from Nakuru County from the scenic Bontana Hotel. Our premiere series of Sauti ya Mwananchi begins this evening on the Monday Report Town Hall session, where we're giving the citizens a microphone so that we hear from them firsthand. Are they getting value for their money? We're calling it Sauti ya Mwananchi. Let me show you what's going on. There's quite a number of them already here to speak their minds in terms of are they getting value for their money from the government and the government performance as well. Lawrence Kibet will be here later on. He's the Director General Public Investments and Portfolio Management at Treasury. Joy Brenda Mdivu is already here. She's the chairperson KPLC. Charles Otieno will be speaking to us about public safety and security sector reforms. And also Solomon Tundo, an agronomist and dairy management consultant, will be here, as well as Chiwani Chitai from Cube Studio KE. It's a time that we give the people back the microphone so that they get the assessment in their own words, in their own terms, whether they're getting value for their money. That is later on our premier series of Sauti ya Mwananchi right here on the Monday Report Town Hall session. Keep your views coming as well at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Monday Report. Later on, I'll rope in Emmanuel Dungu for the sporting action. But before we do that, our top stories tonight. Yes, they wanted my help. President William Ruto confirms that he intervened in the Nairobi hospital dispute after being approached in his capacity as patron.
You ask the OSPD in charge to appear here and explain the circumstances of how they are keeping people and who are doctors and lawyers inside a booth of a car.
And if that cannot assuage our concern, Your Honor, let's walk to the car park where these four are.
Protests inside and outside court as Nairobi Hospital Board associates are charged and later released on bond.
Hawajui mambo ya kupanga Kenya, kazi yao ni matusi, kazi yao ni fitina, kazi yao ni sarakasi, kazi yao ni ukabila.
Sitaki kufanya kazi nyingine sasa. Ni kunusa. Nikisikia kuna kitu wamepanga kuiba, natangaza.
Accusations and counter-accusations fly as President William Ruto and opposition leaders hit the campaign trail.
On issuance of some of these documents to non-Kenyans, I would want to assure everybody that we only issue these documents to Kenyans.
It wasn't me. Immigration PS Belio Kipsang dismisses claims over the RSF Kenya passport controversy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. Tonight we turn to the unfolding wrangles at the Nairobi hospital that have drawn in none other than President William Ruto. In a detailed statement, the head of state confirmed receiving complaints from doctors and stakeholders of the Kenya Hospital Association, raising concerns over governance, board elections, and allegations of mismanagement. Our investigative reporter Ode Francis has pieced together how the president, in his role as patron of the association, directed top officials to intervene, leading to board changes, a reform agenda, and even a multi-agency probe. Here now is the full account of how the country's premier private hospital found itself at the center of national scrutiny.
In an 18-paragraph statement, President William Ruto confirmed being drawn into the Nairobi hospital management wrangles. President Ruto confirmed receiving written memoranda and physical representation from stakeholders of Kenya Hospital Association, including doctors and members of the association at the Nairobi hospital. President Ruto said the concerns raised include disputes over KNA membership, board elections, and subsequent annual general meetings, conflicts of interest and allegations of mismanagement, leadership challenges and internal wrangles, ineffective dispute resolution, and mounting litigation. The president stated that he had been nominated to the position of patron of Kenya Hospital Association as provided by the Article of Association of Kenya Health Hospital Association. President Ruto stated it is in his capacity as patron of the association and president of the Republic of Kenya that he was braved In the statement, the President confirmed assigning Head of Public Service CS Felix Kosgei to undertake multiple consultative meetings with the aim of facilitating dialogue and encouraging resolution of the disputes affecting the Nairobi hospital. The President said the meetings held were no fewer than 14 in number. President Ruto confirmed that the engagement resulted in the reconstitution of the Board of Management. Citizen TV reported on the changes within the board that sought two appointees associated with the State House and Harambee House being nominated. The two are Sylvester Okumu Kasuku and Moses Agoi Ondaba. The President's statement further stated a 5-point reform agenda agreed between the government and the Nairobi hospital stakeholders, and the agendas were verification and cleanup of the KNH membership register, withdrawal of proxy litigation suits to enable normal operations of the hospital, review and strengthening of KNH governance instruments, including the establishment of effective internal dispute resolution mechanisms, appointment of an independent audit firm to conduct forensic audit into financial concerns raised by the stakeholders, preparation for a credible and transparent annual general meeting, and preparation for a credible and transparent annual general meeting of the association. And in what could be pointing to the arrest witnessed over the weekend, President Ruto stated that Attorney General invoked Section 800 of the Act to appoint inspectors to investigate the Kenya Hospital Association. Citizen TV has independently established that the inspector appointed by Attorney General for the purpose was DCI boss Mohamed Amin. A multi-agency team comprising among others the National Intelligence Service NIS, Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Kenya Revenue Authority and Financial Reporting Center undertook the investigations and gave the report to Attorney General on 6th March 2026, under which directions were issued to the relevant authorities to act. Citizen TV reported on a meeting held on Monday, 9th of March 2026, that is 3 days after the submission of the report, in which the Nairobi Hospital Board Chairperson, Dr. Basley Onyambo, was directed to cause more changes in the board or face arrests. The President stated that the ongoing process undertaken by the Attorney General is aimed at safeguarding the long-term future of the hospital. The President said Nairobi Hospital is owned by and managed by the Kenya Hospital Association, a company limited by guarantee and incorporated in the Companies Act of 2015. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Right, I continue from Trevor Ombija right here at our communication center at Citizen TV. My name is Lillian Muli. And let's continue with Monday Report now. And 4 officials linked to the management of Kenya Hospital Association Limited, Job Lukuru Obwaka, Chris Bichange Munga, Samson Mbuthia Kinyanjui, and Valerie Akinyi Gaya were released on a 5 million shillings bond after pleading not guilty to charges. The 4 are facing charges of conflict of interests and lawful receipt of benefits and failure to comply with financial reporting requirements. And as Seth Olale reports, there was drama at the Milimani Law Court's parking lot where the accused persons were detained for 6 hours, prompting defense lawyers to procure an ambulance to attend to their clients who needed urgent medical attention.
Job Lukuru Obwaka, Chris Bichange Munga, Samson Mbuthia Kinyanjui, and Valerie Akinyi Gaya were brought early Monday to the Milimani Law Courts, only to be detained for up to 6 hours in police vehicles at the parking lot. With their health reportedly deteriorating, Director of the Kenya Hospital Association Limited, who's also an admitting consultant at the Nairobi Hospital, Job Lukuru Obwaka, alongside former Director of Kenya Hospital Association, Chris Bichange Munga, were quickly ushered into a standby ambulance for emergency attention.
Haja yetu ni kuhakikisha kuwa dignity ya daktari imetendwa na kuwa haki yake haikiukwi ama his rights is not being disregarded wakati ambapo kuna orders ambazo zinafaa ziangaliwe.
With the standoff between defense counsel and the state prosecutors ensuing over failure to arraign the 4 officials, lawyers representing the accused shuttled from one court to another, seeking the court's intervention.
We know there is no file before you, but we know that even without a file, you have the authority over these presence on matters of criminal practice.
You ask the OSPD in charge to appear here and explain the circumstances of how they are keeping people and who are doctors and lawyers inside a booth of a car.
And if that cannot assuage our concern, Your Honor, let's walk to the car park where these 4 are.
The magistrate courts ordered the prosecution to avail the missing charge sheets promptly. Few minutes to 3 p.m.
They want to oppose bail, Sorry?
Job Lukuru Obwaka, Chris Bichange Munga, Samson Mbuthia Kinyanjui, and Valerie Akinyi Gaya were finally ushered in. The 4 all denying charges of alleged conflict of interest, unlawful receipt of benefits, and failure to comply with financial reporting requirements. First accused, Chris Bichange Munga, denied receiving 4.8 million shillings from Meritorious Insurance Agency, a firm contracted by the Kenya Hospital Association. Second accused, Samson Mbuthia Kinyanjui, the vice chairman of the Nairobi Hospital Board of Management, pleaded not guilty to conflict of interest for allegedly receiving 3.9 million shillings from Meritorious Insurance Agency between December 23rd, 2024 and March 17th, 2025, while serving as a director of the association. Third and fourth accused, Job Lukuru Obwaka and Valerie Akinyi Gaya, denied failing to comply with statutory financial reporting obligations. According to the prosecution, Dr. Obwaka allegedly failed to lodge the company's 2022 and 2023 financial statements with the registrar as required by the law.
Under Section 692 of the Companies Act, the maximum fine for this offense is a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings.
We can come back within the next 14 days.
For those reasons, I have allowed personal bond of Kenya shillings 5 million with the 2 contact persons, and that the accused should attend court without fail when required.
All parties in the case are required to table the necessary documentation that include witness statements before the matter comes up again on the 31st of March 2026 at the Milimani Law Courts. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
Right, and a section of doctors associated with Nairobi Hospital said they reached out to President William Ruto to help save the facility from collapse. 6 doctors, among them prominent cardiologist Dr. David Silverstein, said they sought presidential intervention after months of efforts to bring rival groups together and stabilize the hospital. As Stephen Leto reports, the doctors have also exonerated one of their colleagues, Dr. Job Obwaka, from any wrongdoing, saying the doctor arrested over the weekend was not a member of the board at the time the alleged offense was committed, for which he was charged today.
The 6 doctors in a statement said they approached the office of the head of public service, Felix Kosgei, in March last year. The doctors say they raised concerns about years of mismanagement, financial impropriety, and manipulation of members' register.
Audited accounts which have been published of 2024, those are the latest audited accounts that we have indicated that the hospital had suffered a loss exceeding 3 billion, with a deficit of approximately 2 billion in 2024 alone. Okay, it's estimated that the hospital owes suppliers in excess of Kenya shillings 4 billion, and some suppliers have suspended delivery of essential drugs and medical equipment to the hospital.
The doctors also confirmed seeking audience with President William Ruto as the patron of the Hospital Association, saying his intervention was necessary.
We fought to get on, not because we were trying to make money, because we wanted to give back to this wonderful hospital that had gone from a nursing home to be the hospital in East Africa.
The doctors, however, exonerated one of their own, Dr. Job Obwaka, who was arrested and charged today.
Our concern has also been about the manipulation of the members' register. You have in mind that the Kenya Hospital Association, which owns Nairobi Hospital, is a membership organization, which means that the members on the register, that we have a membership register, which must be legitimate, because those are the legitimate owners of the hospital as in trust by the public.
The doctors defended the government's intervention, saying it is not a takeover of the hospital, saying the hospital belongs to its members and cannot be taken away by the government or any other person.
So Christine is our...
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
Let her say something.
The government has tonight confirmed that it is behind the ongoing investigations at the Nairobi Hospital. Speaking in Mombasa County on Monday, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale revealed that the government directed a probe into allegations of bad governance, tax evasion, corruption, among other challenges crippling the medical facility. The CS refuted claims of meddling in the internal affairs of the medical facility, stating that the government's intervention was sought by senior doctors at the Nairobi Hospital. Safina Chiengoma reports.
It has now emerged that the government is behind the probe at the Nairobi Hospital, which continues to stand at the center of controversy. Speaking in Mombasa County, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale stated that the hospital was facing a myriad of challenges.
Nairobi Hospital first is facing serious financial mismanagement and bad governance. That is the reality. Let us not bring politics, let us not bring other issues. And again, it is facing very serious clinical governance. And I have directed Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council this morning to go and do an audit of its clinical infrastructure.
The CS exonerated the government from allegations of meddling with the internal affairs of the medical facility, stating that senior doctors operating at the Nairobi Hospital called for urgent intervention by the government.
They have sought my intervention as a minister. They have sought the intervention of the president on a number of times, including last week. and the government-directed investigation authorities to probe the ongoings at that hospital, from bad governance to tax evasion to corruption and many, many things. So neither the president nor the Minister for Health nor any government official has any interest. We have absolutely no interest. Our interest is only one. How do we preserve the first-class national and regional health facility that is in our country?
The prestigious medical facility, which is among the leading providers of healthcare services in the East African region, has enjoyed decades of privacy, functioning systems, and smooth transition from one board to another until it found its name in the list of controversy about 3 years ago. The hospital has been marred by boardroom struggles, legal challenges regarding board elections, and concerns of allegations of mismanagement, prompting repeated judicial intervention. The hospital was founded during the colonial era in 1954, originally known as the Nairobi European Hospital. It is owned and operated by the Kenya Hospital Association, KHA, a limited company by guarantee, owned by members, and there is no shareholding. KHA has about 3,000 members who reserve, among others, the right to elect a board of management responsible for strategic oversight. The pioneer patron of KHA was Sir Evelyn Baring, the then governor of Kenya Colony. When Kenya got independence, the patronage was handed over to the country's founding president, Jomo Kenyatta, then passed to Daniel Moi, Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, and currently President William Ruto. An ownership structure that CS Duale says seals any gaps of a takeover.
In any case, Nairobi Hospital cannot be acquired by anyone as there is no shareholding. It is a company by guarantee. So I really want to ask my colleagues, the ones that I have served with them in politics many years, let us not politicize the health sector.
The CS committed that they will put concerted efforts to fix the issues ailing the Nairobi Hospital. Safina Chingoma, Citizen TV.
And away from the Nairobi Hospital, the United Opposition has for the second day maintained that it will continue scuttling the alleged involvement of President William Ruto in the sale of various state corporations for personal gain. Speaking in Kiambu County on Monday, opposition chiefs Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua and Eugene Wamalwa told the head of state to brace for extremely turbulent times ahead of the general election, claiming they were only getting started. Kamau Mwangi reports.
Taking from where they left off on Sunday, leaders in the United Opposition who on Monday attended the funeral service of the late Lucia Wangoe, mother to Kiambu Senator Karungo Thangwa in Kithunguri, piled more pressure on the head of state to come clean on the privatization of government parastatals and his alleged personal interest in their sale.
How much is enough, William Ruto? Just how much is enough? Unataka pesa ngapi? Lakini uzuri hapa akiwa na hiyo pesa yote halali.
Port zetu ya Mombasa, port ya Lamu, we see him in the transport sector. Bato anaendelea kunyakua huko. Energy sector, hata mafuta kule Turkana. Stima yetu Ketrako. He is everywhere, we see his footsteps.
Vowing to continue scuttling underhand deals in the sale of these enterprises that they believe are directly benefiting the president, the opposition chiefs told the president to brace for a bumpy road ahead, saying they will not sit and watch as the country's resources are personalized.
We cannot for a minute, for a day, for the next remaining few months Ruto is president, we will not shift our focus from you, Bwana Kasongo, because you are the problem of Kenya.
Na tutawacha halale. We'll make sure, William Ruto, you are not going to sleep for the next 15 months. Utalala ukifika Sokoi. Tutakuanika na hivi vijana wangu hawa.
They at the same time faulted government's plan to compensate victims of excessive use of police force during protests, calling for the prosecution of police officers involved if indeed the government was sincere in its accountability.
We want to see prosecution of those officers so that you can then complete accountability. But not to say before June utakuwa umepeana 2 billion shillings. It's like that is the price of a Kenyan child. Even 10 billion is too far little for one Kenyan son or daughter.
Kama Mwangi, Citizen TV.
President William Ruto, on the other hand, has sustained his attacks on opposition leaders, terming them as clueless leaders who thrive in ethnic politics. The president, who was on his first day tour of the Western Kenya region, launched several ongoing projects, saying his development record will speak for itself. Stimulator reports.
President William Ruto began his tour in Budalangi constituency, where he launched several projects, then Matayos constituency, before heading to Kakamega and Vihiga counties. President Ruto told his opponents to brace themselves for a battle royale come 2027.
Wale majamaa mkiwaona, wale jamaa agenda hawana, mpango hawana, maono hawana, sera mulibaramu musangalire.
President Ruto also took a swipe at the opposition leaders, accusing them of propagating ethnic politics.
Yule mjamaa wa shares bado anataka kutuletea kisirani na fitina na uchochezi na mambo ya kisirani. Tunawaambia hawa jamaa, Kenya ya ukabila na chuki na fitina, hatuna nafasi na nyinyi tena.
President Ruto launched development projects in the Western Kenya region, including rural electrification in Navakolo and water projects in Ikolomani, said his government will fast-track the projects and ensure completion by the time Kenyans head to the polls.
Na mimi nawaambia watu wa Kakamega, hamutabaguliwa tena, hamutabaki nyuma tena, kwa vyovyote, mbele na nyuma, kulia na kushoto. Nyinyi watu wa Kakamega hamutabaki nyuma tena.
Ruto's tour also rallied the Western region behind the broad-based government arrangement.
Sisi kuanzia kwa kiti ya MCA, kwenda kwa mbunge, kwenda kwa women rep, kwenda kwa senator, kwenda kwa governor, hadi president, tutachagua broad-based.
Si Raila alianza urafiki na Ruto ametushikilia. Hii pali ametutoa, tunaweza wacha hapo ati tena tuende kumangamanga? Si watakuja hapa, watawaambia maneno matatu. Watawaambia Kasongo must go one term. Hiyo inaweza kubadilisha Kenya? Hiyo inaweza kubadilisha Kenya?
In Embu, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki sustained attacks on the united opposition, accusing them of criticizing government projects with no alternative.
Wale ambao walikuwa wanasema serikali haifanye kazi, watch the space, watch the space. Hii mwaka, kwa sababu sasa uchumi umeanza kuimarika, huu ndio mwaka ambayo ile kazi yote ilikuwa imebaki tutaifanya.
Kindiki told the opposition to engage on issue-based campaigns and not incitement to the public.
Wale ambao tunashindana nayo katika siasa, mimi nataka kuwaambia tushindane na maneno ya maendeleo.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
The Immigration Department has denied issuing passports to foreign nationals of questionable credentials. While appearing before National Assembly Committee on Administration and Internal Security, Principal Secretary for Immigration Belio Kipsang broke the silence of the saga, saying no non-Kenyans have been issued with the documents. This coming weeks after tonight, a leaked internal document from the Directorate of Immigration Services revealed a shocking trend where Kenyan passports are dished out to foreign individuals, including high-profile Zimbabwean entrepreneur to high-ranking figures from the Sudan rebel Rapid Support Forces.
On issuance of some of these documents to non-Kenyans, I would want to assure everybody that we only issue these documents to Kenyans. Mainly our IDs and birth certificates, and you cannot get any other documents unless you have the IDs and the birth certificates.
We are going to be taking a very short break now. As you can see, Trevor is on the other end there in Nakuru County, where we're going to be handing over later on Monday report. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Residents along Nairobi's waterways ordered to vacate as government moves to clear riparian
Welcome back. Residents living along waterways and on riparian land in Nairobi have been issued with notices to vacate as a multi-agency team from the national and county governments moves to address the flooding crisis that has affected thousands of city residents. The directive follows a meeting of the Joint Implementation Committee on the Cooperation Agreement between the national government and the Nairobi City County government. But as Emily Chebet reports, business owners and mechanics in the Grogan area who have suffered losses worth millions of shillings want the government to prioritize desilting and unclogging the Nairobi River from upstream.
Augustus Ngusia stands inside what remains of his workplace. Around him, car engines worth thousands of shillings lie submerged in murky water after flood waters swamped the Grogan area for the second time in less than 2 weeks.
Engines zilikuwa nyingi, zote zimekunywa maji, kumaanisha ya kwamba ile faida tungepata yote imekuwa ni hasara kwetu. Engine moja kama inaenda na 1,100, hiyo ni kumaanisha itabidi tubomoe ikuwe ni spare parts.
The persistent downpour pounding many parts of the country is once again exposing the city's lack of readiness to handle floods. And in what appears to be a reactive move, a multi-agency team from the national and county governments has ordered Nairobi residents operating along rivers and waterways to vacate the areas.
Itabidi wasonge kwa sababu tutaondoa hizo nyumba. Tumeleta pamoja zile equipment ambayo tunahitaji kufanya hiyo kazi. Na ni watu ambao wanajua wamekaa pahali ambapo hawafai kuwa. Lakini pia long term tunatumia teknolojia GIS kufanya mapping ya zile maeneo ambapo lazima watu wasonge.
Mechanics in the Grogan area say they are apprehensive about the planned demolitions, accusing the government of working in silos instead of engaging them as part of the solution. According to them, they will only move if provided with an alternative business location.
Sema wanatengeneza mto, wakakuja wakachukua red soil, wakamwaga chini, wakachukua mawe, wakapanga juu. Maji ilichukua mawe zote ikaweka kwa daraja. So ikakuwa imefunga hizo ni za kuingiza maji. So inabidi sasa maji inashindwa kuenda, inarudi back. So ikirudi back ni kuchukua ile line ya biashara huko.
Sio tutakuja hapa kutufukuza juu, huko ndio pia tunatafutia. Sasa wao kwa wanaweza kuja tu wajenge hiyo road juu. Kiangalia pale mbele kuna venye China alijenga hiyo maji kwa sawa, hata haiwezi toka nje. Lakini hapa inatoka nje kwa sababu haijajengwa. So kama wanaweza tujengea tu hiyo maji iflow tu kwa line yake.
As for the mechanics around Grogan, we have been having a long discussion with the Rivers Commission on relocating those garages. They will have to be relocated because they are right on the riparian. We are providing alternative land in Ziwani where we can actually set up these garages, as well as, remember, it's an ecosystem. So you have garages, you also have spare part shops.
Mobility sector agency from both the county and the national governments have been given 48 hours to submit a joint assessment and a costed action plan for the immediate restoration of the infrastructure damaged by floods. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The Russian government has put Kenya on its top list, effectively barring Kenyans from being recruited to its military as contractors. As Emmanuel Tor now reports, the Russian authorities, however, refused to bear the cost of repatriating Kenyans who had been conscripted to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war, saying their contracts did not include that clause and that those who signed for the war knew what they were getting into.
The announcement, which came after 1 hour closed-door bilateral talks between Kenya's Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Russia's Sergei Lavrov, is expected to mark the end of recruitment of Kenyans into the Russian military, with the two leaders disclosing that Kenya had been put on Russia's top list.
We have now agreed that Kenyans shall not be enlisted through the Department of Defense or Ministry of Defense here. They'll no longer be eligible for enlisting in the special operations, and we want to appreciate that.
All Kenyans, as well as many citizens of the other states who signed contracts in order to participate in the special military operation, they did it on a voluntary basis.
Will the Russian Federation repatriate Kenyans back home?
The Russian authorities also distanced themselves from the cost of repatriation of Kenyans who took part in the war.
Contracts provide that as soon as the contract terminates, no repatriation is needed. This person is no longer bound by any contract and they may do whatever they want. What is more, when the contract is effective, a Kenyan citizen or any other citizen, they can terminate.
The Kenyan embassy in Russia is now in the process of documenting the list of the Kenyans willing to return back home, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs showing that 252 Kenyans had been enlisted into the battlefront. More than 10 Kenyans are reported to have been killed in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine since the process of recruiting them into the military began.
Through the Defense Ministry, the consular services will also be arraigned so that the Kenyans who may be requiring assistance or visitation in hospitals can be facilitated through the proper diplomatic channels. The challenges that we are facing is that some of these Kenyans did not disclose their intention, and therefore it's under our laws, the penal code is also illegal for Kenyans to participate in a process that is in contravention of the laws.
The Kenyan government will now have to look for alternative means to repatriate its citizens trapped in the war zone here in Russia, dead or alive, and take them back to Kenya over 9,000 kilometers away, even as the Russian authorities decline any involvement in the process. Emmanuel Tor, Citizen TV, Moscow, Russia.
Right, and back here in the country, Alvin Alukwe, a resident of Njiru in Nairobi County, has won over 2.1 million shillings after participation in the popular Shabiki.com crash game Jet X. The 26-year-old says he has big dreams in life and believes the win on Shabiki.com will go a long way in helping him realize those ambitions. Alukwe also urges other players to enjoy the games responsibly.
Hii pesa vile nimepata, nilikuwa na hesabu kwanza, nilikuwa chini, lakini nashukuru juu sasa hivi naweza, kuna biashara nilikuwa nataka kuanza, sasa hivi niko na capital na nirudi shule pia. Nilikuwa nimeacha kidogo, lakini sasa hivi naweza rudi.
Business News brought to you by Safaricom Business.
Keep business growing with calling, texting, and SMS. Stay connected with customers and suppliers with Zidisha Plus voice and data. Join Safaricom Business today and power your progress.
It's all systems go as the government prepares to launch the second phase of the standard gauge railway this Saturday from Naivasha through to Kisumu and finally Malaba. Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Churchill inspected sections of the railway in both Kisumu and Narok counties and urged residents to take advantage of opportunities expected from the rail line. Residents welcomed the project but called for improvement of infrastructure leading to the railway line. The launch will be presided over by President William Ruto and Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni.
We will work with the contractors to ensure that the locals, our young people, wameajiriwa kazi, the building materials are bought locally, and certainly what we see when construction is going on, we'll see a very quickly elevated GDP from construction, like when we did the securitization and paid the 175 billion and got all the contractors back to work.
We know that everywhere that the line will pass, people will be compensated fully. We are not giving out free.
Si muguu, si gari, si pikipiki, na tunalima hapa ngano, tunalima mahindi, tunalima maharagwe, tunaotesha vitu mingi sana, lakini tunashindwa kufikisha mahali inafika.
Jinsi ambavyo kuna ukosefu wa kazi sahihi, naona itakuwa ni nafasi nzuri ya kupata kazi ambayo inaweza kusukuma kwa tuweze kupata kipato ambacho tunaweza jipanga nayo.
And new financing for the long-delayed expansion of the standard gauge railway from Narok to the Uganda border could be on the horizon after President William Ruto assented to the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Act 2026 last Friday. The new law broadens the use of the Railway Development Levy, allowing the government to use up to 90% of it to secure more financing for future rail projects. The development comes just days before the expected groundbreaking for the next phase of the SGR extension in Kisumu. Jasmine Omboy with that report.
The standard gauge railway currently ends abruptly in Suswa in Narok County, where construction stopped after the government struggled to secure financing for the extension of the line to the Uganda border. The standard gauge railway was initially developed in phases. Phase 1, completed in 2017, runs 472 kilometers from Mombasa to Nairobi, connecting the port city and the capital. The railway was later extended under Phase 2A, adding 120 kilometers from Nairobi to Naivasha, where it now terminates at the Suswa Inland Container Depot. Beyond that point, however, the project stalled for years as the government searched for financing to continue the railway toward Western Kenya and the Ugandan border. The remaining sections are divided into two phases. Phase 2B will extend the railway from Naivasha to Kisumu, covering about 264 kilometers. Phase 2C will then connect Kisumu to Malaba at the Kenya-Uganda border, completing Kenya's section of the regional rail corridor. Together, the two phases are estimated to cost about 582 billion shillings, making financing the biggest hurdle to completing the project. It is this funding challenge the government now hopes to address through the new law. The new Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Act creates a Railway Development Levy Fund, which will now manage proceeds from the Railway Development Levy. The levy is a 2% tax charged on the customs value of imported goods, originally introduced to help finance the construction of the standard gauge railway. The tax already generates substantial revenue. In the financial year ending June 2025, the Kenya Revenue Authority says it collected about 36.8 billion shillings from the levy. Under the new law, the government will be able to use up to 90% of the fund as collateral to raise additional financing, effectively leveraging future levy collections to unlock larger pools of capital for railway development. And the move comes at a time when the railway itself is showing steady operational growth. Latest data from KNBS shows SGR revenue rose to 21.4 billion shillings in 2025, from about 18 billion shillings in 2024, largely driven by freight transport. Cargo services generated about 16 billion shillings, while passenger services brought in roughly 5.4 billion shillings. The National Treasury has already increased the budget allocation for the project to about 30 billion shillings this financial year to support early works, including land acquisition and preparatory construction activities. And the government is currently actively pursuing a securitized bond backed by the securitization of the levy.
We want to raise about 3.9 billion US dollars to be able to build that link, and a lot of work has been done.
The government says it is targeting a completion period of about 3 years from start to finish. Jasmine Wambui, Citizen TV.
And the Law Society of Kenya Sacco has posted a profit of 68.5 million shillings after tax for the year ending December 31st, 2025, up from 54.9 million shillings recorded in 2024. In the year under review, the Sacco saw member deposits increase by over 461 million shillings to close at 3.87. The Sacco say this is a reflection of increased confidence among members. And here now is Jimmy Mbogo with more from the Sacco's full year report for the year 2025.
With an increase in deposit, the Law Society of Kenya Sacco disbursed a total of 3.6 billion shillings in 2025, representing an 11.6% growth in its loan disbursement, or 375.6 million shillings loans more than the previous year. With the Sacco noting that the sustained growth in both deposits and lending highlights strong demand for credit among lawyers. This saw the Sacco's revenue increase from 494.3 million shillings in 2024 to 518.9 million shillings in 2025, representing a 5% jump in revenue growth. However, despite the increase in revenue in nominal terms, the growth rate was slower compared to the 16% rate recorded in 2024. In the period under review, the Sacco maintained a steady liquidity, with its cash and cash equivalents standing at over 915.1 million shillings. Further, the Sacco's asset base grew from 4.1 billion at the end of 2024 to 4.6 billion by December 31st, 2025, with the Sacco now aiming to hit and surpass the 5 billion shillings mark in 2026 to achieve Tier 1 Sacco status. Following the performance, the Sacco disbursed a total of 361.3 million shillings to its members, a 7% increase from 337.7 million shillings disbursed in 2024, made up of 322.6 million shillings worth of interest on deposit at a rate of 9%, while 28.6 million shillings will go to members in dividend payment on share capital. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Business News, brought to you by Safaricom Business.
Keep business growing with calling, texting, and SMS. Stay connected with customers and suppliers with Zidisha Plus voice and data. Join Safaricom Business today and power your progress.
That's it for the day's business, and very shortly, Emmanuel will be bringing you all the day's sports. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. Just came back this evening from the Safari Rally. I'm sure you've seen a lot of footage from there, a lot of mud, a lot of turmoil from the drivers, so it was a fantastic event. Now we have the sports news coming up. Now, a day after going down 3-1 to league leaders Gor Mahia, Ulinzi Stars have fired coaches Stephen Ochola and Francis Onyiso as the team drops deeper into the relegation zone. Former Kenya internationals and Ulinzi Stars players Mulinga Ndeto and Mohamed Rio will take over the team as they fight for the survival in the Kenya Premier League. The Ulinzi Stars are in an unfamiliar second from bottom as they have not been winning matches and have been losing heavily as well.
Black Star. Eno! Mpira ulienda maeneo ya Lang'ata huko, wakati kipa Sylvain Rickson nazihitaji alama tatu. Vijana wa Kogalo, Patrick Sombe, Ekanjum, Patrick mekataa, bado anarudi Kogalo. Sharif Musa Sirengo Ramadan,
Moving on, with 10 matches to the end of the 2025-26 Nationwide Super League, Mombasa United continues to impress as they picked up another crucial win to stay 3 points clear of Migori Youth as the two clubs settle for a two-horse race in the Second Division Football League. Mofa suffered a big blow in the promotion race as they lost 1-0 away to 3K FC in Embu to remain third, 11 points off leaders Mombasa United. Mofa are 1 point ahead of Equity in fourth and 3K in fifth, who tie on 40 points. The three teams have played one match less than Mombasa and Migori. Mombasa picked a crucial home win, blanking Kabati Youth 2-0, while Migori had to dig deep to edge out Soy United 3-2. The top three teams in the NSL will be promoted to the top tier KPL next season, while the bottom four clubs will be relegated. The WRC Safari Rally was held in the middle of an unexpected rainy season with flash floods reported in various parts of Nakuru County. The 20 legs of the rally were not spared as some stages were cancelled due to the rains. But this did not deter thousands of fans who descended in Nakuru County from as far as Mombasa and Uganda. Micah Kinyi has just returned from Naivasha with that story.
They came in their thousands. From the first stage on day one in Camp Moran to the last stage at Hell's Gate on the last day, they all showed their love for the event that has attracted more spectators each year since being readmitted into the World Rally Championships in 2021. From Uganda to the Busia border and many other places in the country, what brought them together is the adventure and the thrill of watching the World Rally Championship competition.
It has been a great experience seeing people who are participating, seeing how Kenyans are hospitable to everybody who has come to be part of this rally.
Honestly speaking, I can say spectaculars, and as I say, Magava izidi kuongezea hii time.
I feel very good. So many people. It's so exciting to see all these people being happy, dancing, and we eat the street food. It's really good too.
The spectator zone were a beehive of activities with fans enjoying the rally. The vendors took advantage of the numbers to do business, but most complained of slow business across the 4 days of the rally.
Last year, by the time I was reporting here by 6 a.m., people were already there, we were even late, we couldn't even find a space. But today, literally, I thought I'm the only one here. So people came late.
Lakini kwa saa hii hakuna biashara, si kama last time. Kwa hivyo pesa kwa wananchi hakuna.
Accessing the spectator zones was a nightmare as the numbers grew each day. The Hell's Gate stage was the most affected as it was the final competition of the rally. President William Ruto assured the rally enthusiasts that from next year, access will be much better and smoother.
By next year, we will have completed the dualling of the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, and you will find your way to Naivasha much more easily.
To get a vantage point to catch the action, the fans checked in as early as 3 a.m. It all paid off as they enjoyed the final stages, cheering each car as it made its way to the finish line. These rally drivers go through 14 rallies across 5 continents each year, but they say nothing compares to the Safari Rally when it comes to spectators.
The fans here are incredible, to be fair. We had so many people on the road section, but also in the stages, especially S-Gate was very, very nice. To be fair, I wish on the podium they could have been closer to us. They were too far, to be fair.
Fans incredible. I mean, the people here in Kenya all over is so passionate, so welcoming and loving, and yeah, it's been an incredible adventure the whole trip I've had here in Kenya.
I mean, also the road sections are crazy. Like here, when you come to the service park, I don't know how many thousand people was on the junction over there. So they are really enthusiastic and they want to see the cars. So
it was atmosphere is something crazy always. So I cannot hear, but I can feel that sound. That's always something special in here.
President Ruto assured Kenyans that the Safari Rally will be back in the WRC, but this time organized and funded by the private sector and not the government from the year 2027.
This morning,
Michael Kinyi for Citizen TV.
To the legendary Hell's Gate National Park.
A great weekend if you managed to attend that in Nakuru County. Fantastic scenes over there. There's some more big sporting events coming, of course. We were meant to have the Women's Africa Cup of Nations this month, but it was postponed to July or August. So let's have a look forward to some of our other sporting events that we have for national interest and also international as well.
Right. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Lilian Muli. We've been with Njoki Ndungu, our sign language interpreter. She will continue, though, as Njoki Shege. Njoki Shege. I think I have the judge on my mind, Njoki. Forgive me. But so we're going to be crossing over from here in studio to Nakuru County, where Sauti ya Mwananchi is on with Trevor Ombija. Remember, Monday Report is on the road tonight. Enjoy the rest of your viewing from us in studio here. It's good night.
Good night.
Are citizens getting value for their money?
Tonight on the Monday Report Town Hall, Kenyans freely and openly reflect on issues of governance.